Welcome everybody to another live recording of the Business Travel 360 Linking the Travel Industry podcast, where we discuss travel industry news you are talking about on LinkedIn. My name is Rian and I'm one of your hosts today. I'm a co-founder at Agentivity, where we provide operational reporting and data automation solutions for travel sellers. If that sounds of interest or you just want to talk to somebody with a little bit of experience in this field, please get in touch. Now, this is the part where I say I'm usually joined by Ash and Anne, but Ash is at ProcureCon and Mohit has kindly agreed to step in. So I'll let him introduce him in a second, but over to you, Anne.
Hello, everybody. I'm Anne. I'm an independent consultant with LeapShift. I'm happy to help you with anything related to distribution, airline retailing, NDC, one order, etc. And I'm thrilled to hand over to Mohit. It is so nice to see you again, my friend.
Yeah, you guys are so kind. Hello, everybody. I'm Mohit. I'm one of the regular listeners of this amazing live show and, a long-time friend of the pod. I also work as a PM for flights at ticket.com here in Jakarta. So Ash has not grown a beard. I'm just standing in for it.
Very good. So for those new to the event, what we do here is we go through stories from last week, travel industry related stories on LinkedIn that was most discussed, and we just discuss them a bit further. And again, as I've mentioned, you are more than welcome to comment and we'll get your comments on screen as well. We're going to start with the story which I think most of us saw was the ATC or the air traffic control outage at Newark International Airport in New York, where it is now believed air traffic controllers were completely blind and unable to see or talk to aircraft for up to 90 seconds. And it caused such an issue for them that many of them have been put on stress leave, as you can imagine. It must have been a terrible incident altogether. I can't confirm this, believe it's got to do with a wire that's burnt out. And I'm sure you picked up on the story. It must have horrified you as much as me, right?
Thinking 90 seconds is a very, very long time when you're flying at that kind of speed. Yeah. But I can imagine that they are on stress relief.
Absolutely. Mohit, did that story reach your part of the world?
It just kind of shows how vulnerable our airports are. Also, United would be the most impacted because I think Newark is their home turf. Thank God that there was no incident to report, turned out well.
Indeed. And that does bring us to the second story, which is the announcement a few days later by the US government that they will be investing quite heavily in the air traffic control infrastructure. And two numbers stood out for me, if I read them correctly. I think the first was the amount that they would seek and need to raise and get approved by Congress, which is about $12.5 billion. And the second, already being criticized, but a very ambitious deadline to have this complete overhaul done by 2028, which, is, I have to say, very ambitious. But at least the attention is there. It's being looked at. Let's hope they get this right. Right, Anne?
Very much needed. And I hope that they cover it well in media to explain what this actually means. This is absolutely terrifying.
Two airlines, fairly major airlines, announced corporate portals, one being Etihad and the other one being EVA Air. I have a little bit more information. The Etihad Airways plan was announced at the ATM where I was, and they talk about it offering a comprehensive travel management portal, streamlined booking process, etc., and something fairly similar from EVA Air. Nothing new here. I mean, we know airlines do this with especially with corporates who might fly only with them on specific routes. So, if that works for them and it works for the corporate, why not?
Have we not talked about an Etihad corporate portal like a year or 2 years ago? I thought they already had announced. Of course, I think it's an excellent way to go. What I'm missing in both announcements is I would love to know whether these are own IT built solutions. Over to you, Mohit.
Because they are still offering these relationships only to large corporations, I think it's still maybe not in-house. While we keep seeing this trend of airlines going direct with mostly the larger corporations, I really think about, the future of TMCs in this space.
Next story is about the Tel Aviv airport. 6 people were injured at Ben Gurion Airport after a rocket reached the actual airport perimeter. Just worth mentioning that most European airlines, so including the entire Lufthansa group, have suspended flight operations quite sensibly to Tel Aviv. And I don't think that's changed since that announcement from last week. Two major airlines, one being AirAsia and the other one being Wizz Air. AirAsia is going to abandon Kuala Lumpur to Nairobi, which we celebrated with great fanfare last year on the show when they announced it. So it's less than a year since they announced it. They just can't make the numbers work, just not enough traffic. And the second one has not even started, and that's Wizz Air's plans to abandon the Milan-Abu Dhabi route, which really surprised me. They were due to fly 2nd of June, so it's less than a month away, and they have decided to cancel that and not proceed with it. So quite a lot to unpack there. Mohit, I'm going to go to you first. Either or, which one you want to comment on, but we've grouped them together. So what do you make of these?
I think this could be seen as a continuous network optimization, Rian. With less demand, only direct service between Asia and Africa, which I think was about a 9-hour long flight. It makes perfect sense to me to put this plane on a route that has better demand. The backstory here might be for AirAsia and particularly, they have significantly predicted demand with the upcoming the pilgrimage period. So they have already announced more frequency to Riyadh and Dammam. So I think that is where this plane would end up flying.
Thank you very much. And your thoughts?
I also find Kuala Lumpur, Nairobi quite interesting. And I don't understand that they didn't. I mean, I wonder how they figured out that the demand was actually there in the first place. And that sort of tells me that I don't think that airlines in general are all that good at demand forecasting, as some of them claim to be. It really surprises me, but I don't see a demand there. And I totally agree with Mohit on the Wizz Air Milan to Abu Dhabi. I do not understand. And there must be something else underlying here when it's this close. I mean, 2nd of June, you said that is very, very soon. Could it have something to do with Indigo changing also and coming into Europe?
I guess on the positive side, at least we have to step back and say the airline is big enough to decide it's not working, not financially viable, we're going to change, as opposed to trying and making a financial loss out of it completely and just ruining it, right? So, at least they are good at that. Okay, we just want to take a few seconds to turn to the audience and say thank you so much for giving us your time on a Monday. We're not done. We've got a few more stories to cover. We are delighted to see so many people in the room. And the purpose of linking the travel industry, apart from bringing you the news, is also to see how many of us can be connected to one another as possible so that there's more dialogue and more exchanges of ideas flowing in our industry. So if you feel like it, please comment. Tell us where you're listening from, which city, which country. And if you have a good word to say about the show, then do that as well. But it's mostly to say thank you for giving us your time, on a Monday. So back to the stories. I've got a few more lined up. ATPCO and Amtrak working together. Amtrak has announced that they have deployed the ATPCO Route Happy visualization product, and it is just to obviously visualize. I mean, I didn't know enough about the ATPCO Route Happy product. I thought it was just seats, but it's actually everything. It can include check-in, it can include lounge, it can include ancillaries on the plane, etc., not just the seats. So it's a visualization of what you might want to buy. Interesting development there from the forward-thinking Amtrak, as usual. And do you know a bit more than I do, perhaps, about the ATPCO Route Happy product?
Good for them. There are other products out there, of course, but absolutely excellent, I would say. Do you know more, Mohit?
I've actually been on a demo with them for offering rich content. But I think from Amtrak, this is a very positive, forward-looking. Any feature enhancement contributes towards the user experience is always welcome. I think I've used personally this feature on Qatar Airways, visualize how my seat would look like, will there be a port of charging and all of that. It is quite useful, just to take a sneak peek at the future onboard experience.
It's sometimes difficult really to know whether the offer you're going to get is, exactly that. It's better if you can see it. We all know that. Deep sigh coming from you on this one, but Finnair had to cancel up to 100 flights recently due to ongoing strike. I don't actually know the body that's striking. I did read up on this before, but I didn't make a note. But you will know more. So tell us what you make of this.
Because it's like never ending, is it? It seems like there are different bodies that go on strike, and it seems to be a general sort of unhappiness in the airline or discontent, whatever we want to call it. But yes, this troubles me because it's a small airline and it's already a very troubled airline because of the geographical challenges, as you know. They can no longer benefit from the routes from Northern Europe and flying across Russia. Who knows what's really going to happen? Although I assume that there will be government subsidy going in and sort of rescuing these airlines like again and again.
an acquisition of sorts. Two solutions companies, right? Telma Travel Solutions and Solutions Travel teamed up. Telma, of course, expanding the US presence by acquiring a majority stake in Solutions Travel. Overall, a fair amount of comments, all saying very positive things. Telma going places quite clearly. Previous investment was with Blue Cube Travel in the UK. Well done, Telma, and good luck with this development. And then we are back with Mohit's favorite airline in the news. Mohit, it was always you who said we can't have a week without Ryanair news. And there we are with you on the show. Ryanair has lived up to its promise and delivered us some news. So Ryanair has announced that they've teamed up with Atlas, who personally, I must admit, I haven't heard about before, but I guess they are a bit behind the scenes. But they've teamed up with Atlas and approved them to be their third approved OTA aggregator. So, Mohit, I know you're burning to tell us more about this. Go for it.
I'm actually a very big Mary Lee fan, who is the CEO and co-founder and the founder of Atlas. It's a very young company. I think they started around 2019. That's when Mary left Mystify and, started this venture. In very little time, at least, in the Asia Pacific region, they've got good traction. Ryanair choosing Atlas to distribute their content means to other OTAs and aggregators in Asia and China is a very good sign for Atlas. So I think they're doing very well.
So that was the stories on my list. I do believe, and you have an extra story for us, so I'll just leave that with you.
Posted the extra story about Revolut. It's not the story as per se, although you know that Revolut is a company that I follow very closely and have been for a long time now. The story also triggered an interest in me because I thought, I find it astonishing how in payment and fintech and like a company like Revolut, but they are in the news constantly. And it's all about progress and what they're doing and what is so fantastic. And they talk about their solutions. And why don't we see this in the travel industry? Why don't we talk about, we have built a corporate portal that can do X, Y, Z. And this is amazing. And this actually delivers this value. And this, we're expecting this to generate this much in increased sales, etc. We never hear anything about what is so astonishing and what's so great and what's the value delivered. And I just thought that it's amazing that Revolut, as you know, the journey has been kind of short. And here we are. They actually turned down this, and it would have been a potential evaluation of $65 billion.
So I think that does bring us to a wrap for this week's fantastic show with Mohit out of Jakarta. Thank you for joining us. It's been too long, my friend. We need to see you here again. And thank you for those in the audience giving us your comments and listening in. We really appreciate that. Now, and we didn't think this through, but Ash normally does the wrap up. So I'm not going to expect Mohit to do that. But over to you, Anne, and then Mohit, and then I'll try and do a quick wrap up.
Okay, excellent. Well, a big thank you, Mohit. It was so wonderful to have you back and to see you again. And of course, a huge thank you to our audience. And it was great to see George again there after, a long time. And everyone else, of course. So over to you, Mohit.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks, Rian. And again, for having me. Thanks for the audience to bear with me. I think Ash will be back next week. George, it's very nice to see you again on the pod. Thank you for listening in.
No, thank you, Mohit, for your time. We appreciate it. And thank you to the audience again. We do this weekly every Monday at this time, in case you missed it. And if you think you found this event useful, please do remind others of it as well. This is turned into a podcast, which you can find at businesstravel360.com. So thank you again for everybody. There we go. That's a wrap for today.